Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you Game 3 in a best of 3 series between Nani and Liquid Red. Game 3 taking place here on Shattered Temple. Game 2 was a real nail-biter up until the very end. Very great games. This is probably one of the best of 3 series I've seen in quite some time, where you really couldn't predict who was going to win up until the final minute or two, where no one truly had an advantage. And now we'll see what comes up in this game. Nani spawning as the blue Protoss player. Meanwhile, Liquid Red spawning as the red Zerg. And if you're wondering why this is an ally spawn, it's an ally spawn because this is the BattleNet Invitational. And now you are going to see this one probe quickly make its way into the base and scout out his opponent. An unfortunate or an inconvenient truth right now for Liquid Red, as Red will be forced to deal with close spawns here on Shattered Temple. The Overlord has come into position, doesn't spot a Nexus, and oh, the probe was very smart to only scout out the creep and not do anything else. The probe now coming back. Why? He is coming back. He's going to take a look around, wants to see what's happening, make sure that there is not a spawning pool or anything else of that sort, as this probe just dancing back and forth. We are getting up a gateway. We are going to most likely be getting up a Cybernetics core here, and the Zealot will be able to hold off a lot of Zerglings there, as we can see an early spawning pool coming into play. Red most likely, oh no, yeah, this time around he is going for a pool extractor, but the extractor is a little bit faster than in his previous matchups, so perhaps he wants to get that metabolic boost down just a little bit earlier in order to take control of the map and make sure that Nani is not able to put down a lot of proxy pylons and then initiate with a 4-gate. We can see currently in the simulator warping into play, a pylon now being added. Cybernetics core should be added on over here. As soon as that core is in play, we should perhaps see a chrono boosted Zealot or a Zealot starting to be trained off on this position here. Hatchery, Overlord is in this position here. Hatchery not being built, instead going into that Queen and those 4 Zerglings once more. We are getting that spawning pool. The spawning pool is about to shimmer. It needs about 28 more gas in order to start that metabolic boost, as the Overlord now starting to slowly make its way into this position here to spot whether or not his opponent is taking his expansion. Zerglings now looking around to see if there are any probes. The hatchery will be placed down by Red pretty much uninterrupted, as we are only harvesting one with one worker right now. So one worker on gas at this stage in the game, so we'll see what Red wants to do. Red most likely will be laying down a creep tumor in just a moment based upon the positioning of this one Queen so far, but he also needs to train up another Queen. So yeah, there's that second Queen there. You can also see that this one hatchery is about one-third of the way completed. The Queen may turn around, do a spawn larva, and then come back into this position. Not quite sure, as we are seeing that 24/26. What is Red doing? Yeah, Red is going to do a creep tumor first. So laying down a creep tumor. Queen now slowly making its way into the natural expansion location. I don't see a macro hatch yet, as the Overlord now starting to fly in. We are going into a gateway. The gateway does have still training up more and more sentries. 2 additional gateways being added as well. The Overlord going to spot these gateways and pretty much know what is going down. Does Red spot both the gateways? No, he only spotted one. If he had just flown just a little bit more, he would have seen that second gateway as well, as the Zealot and the sentries are trying to push their way out. The Zerglings now coming back down over here didn't spot a Nexus at all. The Overlord perhaps going to suicide or move in once more a little bit later. Queen now at the natural expansion. Spawn larva underway. 22 drones versus 26 probes, but we do have a mineral patch advantage for Red, as Red able to mine with less diminishing returns at this point, as a Nexus should be coming into play now. So we are running off of 3 gateways. That Nexus should be warping in just a moment, and now also trying to get some sentries as well. A lot of sentries. There we go. There's the other warp gate. So this is a 3-gate expand with a lot of sentries. And with all of these sentries in play, he is going to be able to defend fairly easily. There is also a proxy pylon set up over here. The Overlord does not spot this, but I don't believe there's actually enough room to warp in units up on that high ground. The Overlord here does not spot the Nexus yet. so he doesn't know that the expansion is already coming in. Spine crawlers being added. I don't see an evolution chamber, so it doesn't look like he's expecting any Stargate or Stargate play. Zerglings now going to make their way over here, perhaps shut down this one pylon. The pylon taking already down to half life already, as those shields do count for some of its life, and now Sentry is going to be coming back. Zerglings are going to try to make it way up the ramp, unable to do so as there is a Zealot now there. The Zealot's going to be able to fend off a lot of units. Are we going to perhaps lose a couple of these pylons in mid, or at the natural base here? This one pylon going to get destroyed as there are 2 Zealots here, and now the Zealots sentries trying to push in, but this is not going to be a very easy battle as Nani trying to fight back in a couple queens, and this queen now completely Triforce sandwiched into this force field location here, and nicely done, able to shut down the production of Ret by only using 3 force fields. So with 1 force field constantly on the ramp, the reinforcements could be coming in. The spine crawlers are not in position just quite yet. Another force field coming in, no real way to transfer drones. Zerglings now trying to come in from the front and from the back. Nani going to be losing all of his sentries here. A lot of force fields have been used, but a lot of that energy is now being depleted, and I believe these sentries' days are essentially numbered. As soon as those force fields go down, yeah, gonna try to hide back in a corner once more, but not enough for that last force field, and all of these sentries will get destroyed, as it looks as though Ret really benefiting from a little bit of a misplay by Nani, but Nani does have his own natural expansion up and running as well. Ret does spot this, as the Zerglings are going to try to poke their head on that front door. We are going into a Roach Warren. We are getting Burrow as well, so I'm not going to predict Tunneling Claws, as that's often a very, very difficult thing to predict, but we do have a lot of spine crawlers, and it seems as though Ret wants to establish up another base now. You can see that this one drone making its way off, perhaps here or here, to set up another base. Zerglings hiding off over here as well. Glial reconstitution. Burrow now being researched, as roaches are now being slowly added into the army. Now, we are getting into very, very heavy gateway play. 7 gateways in just a few more seconds. We are also having a couple of pylons here. Not quite sure why there is nothing, a little bit of a gap here. Perhaps Zerglings can still squeeze through there, as this hatchery is being established at the 12 o'clock location. Overlord now pushing their way in. You can see a lot of gateways, and a lot of gateways going to be able to deploy units into the field in just a moment. Sentries, Zealots, and Zealots are already in position here, as a pylon now warping in as well. The Zerglings now trying to push their way in, unable to do so, and unable to really squeeze in through here either. This one pylon may get destroyed. Are they going to be able to try to move through? No, they are not going to be able to move through, as Ret pretty much sees everything he wants to see. Zerglings once again getting catching some of those sentries midfield, but there are simply too many in numbers. Zealots also nearby, as more units are still warping in, and the Zerglings able to squeeze through here, perhaps get some damage on a couple of those probes once more. The Overlord able to hide up here on the high ground, and 2 more assimilators now being added by Nani. Roach is now coming back in once again. The sentries could get some force fields right behind it, and there's the Burrow. Beautiful play by Ret. So all of these roaches are going to be able to burrow, and just being forced to play a game of whack-a-mole against his opponent. Those roaches do regenerate very, very quickly once more. The lower hit point roaches are staying down, and there you go. The lower hit point roaches, I think if Ret is just smart, he could easily just not unburrow the lower hit point roaches and then re-engage constantly, as he is also able to regenerate much of the damage that is being dealt by Nani. You can see the roaches are continuing to push their way in. More force fields still coming in once again. Ret may be able to blink in a couple, burrow in a couple more seconds, perhaps trying to fight back against all of these numbers, and a robotics facility still some time away from being completed, as those sentries, stalkers, and zealots are not able to spot any of those roaches without the help of those observers. Roaches still dealing a lot of damage here. You can see that the losses are starting to rack up, as Ret just punishing his opponent with mass roach whack-a-mole play. Stalkers getting destroyed, zealots getting warped in as well, an observer finally being added, but it may be too little too late, as the army of Nani starting to dwindle away, and it looks like a couple sentries and stalkers are all that is left from all of these roaches from just dealing a lot more damage. Roaches are now pushing their way in, and it looks like, yes, these roaches will be able to finish it here. There are a lot of roaches in the backfield, and as soon as these reinforcements come in, yes, 20 roaches shutting down the rest of these stalkers, and it looks like Red will be able to destroy all of this, and there is the GG from Nani. So Nani losing game 3 from impressive whack-a-mole roach play here on Shattered Temple. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.